Some producers make beats, but the Alchemist, he builds worlds. His sound is dusty, hypnotic, and instantly recognizable. It reminds me of a lost film score chopped into loops. And when I first heard it, it completely changed the way that I think about music production. So today I'm breaking down how the Alchemist transformed my sound, and we'll be building a couple of beats in this style today. The Alchemist is known for making beats that don't sound like your typical rap instrumentals. You know the formula: two-step hi-hat, hard-hitting kick and snare, and booming 808. His beats sound older, more classic, and not just because of the sample use. What I love about his beats is they don't just sit there waiting for the rapper. They actually challenge the artist. The space he leaves in his beats forces the artist to step up and deliver a performance that fills that gap he leaves. That simplicity and that willingness to not fill every gap is what makes his style so powerful. Anyway, let's get into beat one. Two things strike me about the Alchemist samples. He uses loops that are hypnotic, sometimes minimal but always atmospheric. And he has a willingness to use left field, kind of strange samples, stuff other producers might skip over. And that's exactly what I want to capture in this first beat. So on Sampler.io, I'm not going to touch the genre. All I'm going to make sure is the sample is an older one. Yeah, this is hard. So the first thing I actually want to do is pitch it down. That's what gives the Alchemist sound that grit, and also to slow it down. After chopping around the sample, here's my main loop. A huge shift for me was realizing beats didn't have to be polished to sound good. What matters is the character, the grit, and the soul, and these effects take this sample a long way. The lossy really adds that digital sample effect. What I love about his sound is his versatility. Sometimes he makes beats that sound like this.
Freddie sent me this shit. This sound like the boat I haven't bought yet. This sound like...
And sometimes ones that sound like this.
Stood up and he made us proud. Told him when I make it out, we ain't gonna have to risk our life no more. I found the safer route.
Sometimes the sample has so much about it, it doesn't even need drums. However, I'm gonna support the drums in this track. I just dropped my brand new IVORY drum and drum break kit, and this one is something special. Inside, you're getting hundreds of raw, textured, hard-hitting drum one-shots with more than 60 drum breaks that cover everything from classic hip-hop and boom bap R&B to more experimental grooves. And sounds you've probably never heard in a kit before. This pack takes the same grit and character you loved in the Auburn drum kit and the Pioneer drum kit, but pushes things even further with more unique left field sounds to help you really stand out in your production. It's inspired by the legends like The Alchemist, Kanye West, Tyler the Creator, and more modern artists such as McGee. For the next week only, the kit is 20% off. So if you want drums that hit hard, break patterns that spark ideas instantly, hit the link in the description and grab it now. Then I laid down these new drums from the IVORY drum kit. And with the sample, this is how they sound. You can see how they're supporting the sample and not dictating where the sample goes. And what about the low end? Alchemist often uses the bass of the sample. To achieve this sound, I duplicate the sample, add this R bass, and cut out the highs. You'll notice straight away how that sounds like the new Earl album. B sections is something that Alchemist loves and something I think is missing a lot in modern music. So these new sample chops just keep the track super interesting. And for this beat section, I want to go a bit more crazy with these drums. So we have all the elements from before. I've just turned the drums up and I'm going to spice up the kick pattern. Then let's get an 808 from the kit. A lot of these drums are organic sounding, so they fit perfect with samples. And then just like a two-step. The intro and the outro in Alchemist beats are often just other sections of the same sample used, and this is what I have for the intro. The outro took a little bit more to transition into, and sound effects are your best friend when transitioning in beats. It's not about doing any wild patterns, if it works with the sample the right way. I still remember the first time I heard an album solely produced by The Alchemist. It made me rethink whether my beats needed to be as busy, or if they could be stripped down and still hit just as hard. And it's something I've really tried to bring into my own sound.
I'm on my off foot again, I pick apart the defense with the triple cross, silver hearts, a split for your scars, jog my memory, what isn't ours, slivers of God at it.
But Alchemist doesn't always just start with samples. Let's start with the drums first on this one. As you saw earlier, the IVORY drum kit has tons of drum breaks, making it so easy to just drag and drop and build around. But for the sake of the video, let's do our own drums. And for this beat, we're going for the Alfredo 2 vibe. And let's start with the snare. And let's add a touch of reverb to it. Nice and dusty sounding. So I've adjusted the snares to come in a little early, just for the human feel. And then let's just get a hi-hat and leave the drums there for now. I want to keep it simple, remember. And the velocities, you want to randomize them a lot and humanize them too. I hear Alchemist use a lot of movie soundtracks, typically Italian ones from the 70s, so let's get those search results down. Yeah, I love this one. And this guy knows too. Chopped these sections and of course lowered the pitch. Just a 4-bar loop. He already has the groove locked in with the drums, and the sample is just fitting around that groove. This idea changed the way I approach beat block. If I can't find a sample I like, I'll start with the drums first. I love how that sounds. The bass is sitting in the back like it's part of the sample. And then there's this other part of the sample that I'm just using for the B section. Should we add some drums to this B section? Something really subtle. And a perk. Okay, that bit sounds amazing. And if we just automate the beat to go down in tempo on this last bar. Yeah, that's it. Let's get some simple drum sounds. And then we can use the start of this sample as the intro, because it's so mysterious sounding. And since we already have the movie theme going, let's add some quotes from a movie.
You know, you got this fantasy in your head about getting out of the life, and what the fuck are you gonna do except hustle?
Okay, this can work.
You know, you got this fantasy in your head about getting out of the life and setting that other world on its ear. What the fuck are you gonna do except hustle? Besides pimping.
Oh, and more sirens and stuff. See, this is the shit that only music producers notice. That is perfect for an outro. And then if we had the film back in.
Dude, this is what you're growing to. Just think about it.
Oh, that is perfect. You see how that little film sample has just elevated this whole beat. And this is beat 2.
It's a lot of cold nights, under pains in this bitch. Water whipping off some game in this bitch. Robbing when they shit the slang in this bitch. It's a lot of cold tears, hard times in this bitch. Murder can't stay out my mind in this bitch. Ain't no lust, don't reside in this bitch.
Whether you start with the sample or the drums, the key is to experiment. Flip something you normally wouldn't flip. Strip your drums totally back and chase the feeling of the track instead of the polished perfection. And if you want the exact drum sounds I used on these beats, check out the IVORY drum kit down below.